Oh my God! Get the hell out of here! You can talk about Rodgers. Get the hell out of here!
Okay, well, what is the need to bring up the Yankees?
It's just stuff to bring up because
Are you kidding me? Come on, dude! This came out of nowhere!
not. Clemson is a top team. Don't start with that. Clemson's a top team, no doubt, 100%.
Unless it's on Saturday, then they might move down.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are now on episode number 52. We did have that little extended break last week, but we are now back with our second episode in a row, and we're coming at you. Before we start the episode, hit that like button, subscribe down below, follow us on all our socials. We're still on the road to 500 on Instagram, so definitely keep hitting that follow button. But as you guys know, go of the number 52. Tommy, I'm going to swing it to you here first. I'm hoping we're unanimous today.
Well, I hope so too. It's obviously CC Sabathia. How could you go any other way? CC is one of my favorite players of all time. We know that he was the best pitcher in the game early on in his career. He has 251 wins, over 3,000 strikeouts, won a World Series with the Yankees. He won a Cy Young in Cleveland. He was a 6-time All-Star. CC Sabathia is a clear Hall of Famer. He's one of my favorites for sure. And I hope that you're going to pick him as well. He's just the best.
Matt.
Tommy, your hope, it's not going there for you because definitely not. It is definitely not CC Sabathia. CC Sabathia, in my opinion, he was great. I'm not going to lie. But there was someone so much better, and his name is Ray Lewis. He's one of the best linebackers to ever play football. This guy's unbelievable, Tommy. I don't know. You're crossing the line here. Like, I get you pick baseball.
Crossing the line.
Just crossing the line. This guy was amazing. Ray Lewis, I know he played for your rival Ravens, but this guy is absolutely incredible. A 2-time Super Bowl champion, 13-time Pro Bowl, 2-time AP Defensive Player of the Year, 7-time All-Pro. And he was a Hall of Famer in the All-2000s team. And guess what? He is a Hall of Famer, and CC isn't even a Hall of Famer yet.
Well, he can't be in the Hall of Fame, though, because he just retired.
Boo-hoo. I don't care.
You can't hold that against him. He's going to be once he's on the ballot.
Well, guess what? Ray Lewis is 1,000 times greater than CC Sabathia. Guaranteed. I'd even like to point out Clay Matthews was a great 52. Plenty other 52s I'm not thinking on the top of my head, but Mike, stop giving me the eye.
I don't know why Mike just bulls his eyes. I have to agree. Clay Matthews in his prime was a freak.
He was amazing. But Ray Lewis is like 20 times better. Tommy crossed so many lines here. It's just, I can't talk. I'm done.
I don't think I crossed the line.
I'm cutting Tommy off. He's not allowed.
No, I think Ray Lewis is a great player, though. I think
Tommy, you're a mile ahead of the line already.
Well, there you go. All right.
Mike, why don't you give us your number?
Yeah, I mean, it's Ray Lewis, period, point blank. I mean, this guy, he led one of the best defenses of all time in the 2000 Ravens, carried that team to win a Super Bowl. I mean, he was an absolute core piece, and he is Ravens culture. Without Ray Lewis, the Baltimore Ravens would not be where they are today, and I feel like that's something that CC Sabathia cannot even come close to saying.
Yeah, it's clear cut Ray Lewis, man. I mean, there's really no other like differentiation. I'm a big Yankees fan, and I've seen CC Sabathia pitch multiple times live. I've been in the stadium, and he definitely is awesome. But I think the difference is when we talk about the other great pitchers that we've mentioned in this series is they have the 300 wins and they have the 3,000 strikeouts. And they have a good ERA, where CC Sabathia in his later part of his career really struggled with his ERA and his control and his strikeouts really overall. I mean, he got his strikeouts, I think. He got it in Arizona. I think it was his last season. His last season. So, I mean, we have Nolan Ryan here who we're talking about who has over 4,000 strikeouts. We have oh my gosh, what is his name? Tom Seaver, who we're talking about, who has these great accolades. And CC Sabathia is definitely a couple levels below them.
Adam Wainwright?
Adam Wainwright, I mean. No. CC Sabathia is a 100% better pitcher than Adam Wainwright. But for us not to go Ray Lewis here, it's disrespectful, Tommy.
I don't think it's disrespectful. I think that Ray Lewis is a great player. I don't want to take anything away from that. But CC, he's a Hall of Famer. He's gonna be a Hall of Famer.
He's not even a Hall of Famer.
You pointed that out that he's not, but he can't be right now, Matt. He's got to be on the ballot first. But no, I don't want to take anything away from Ray Lewis. He's a great player, but CC's one of my favorites, and I had to go with him for this one.
I think one of my favorite Ray Lewis moments, and it actually came against the Jets. It was when the Jets were still decent in like the late 2000s.
Back in like 1910 or something.
Hey, you're funny. No, it was like the late 2000s, 2009, 2010. It was the Rex Ryan era. And they were playing a game and the Jets were down 10-9 with like a minute left. And Dustin Keller, an old tight end for the Jets, ran like a little in route right to Ray Lewis. And I mean, Ray Lewis laid the crap out of Dustin Keller. Helmet flew off, ball popped in the air. Ray Lewis picked the ball off and Baltimore won the game. Obviously stung for me because I was a big Jets fan. But just to see the presence that Ray Lewis had on the field, it was even more than all the accolades that Matt had said for. Just the presence that he had on the defense, the captainship that he held is much higher than anything I've ever seen before on a football field.
You remember his entrance too?
Oh, yeah. It was a lot.
Gave me chills.
Savage.
Yeah.
Did CC Sabathia have any cool entrances, Tommy?
He had some cool entrances when he ran out of the dugout, like ready to fight people. Those were great. CC's energy is unmatched. He was the best, but
all right.
I don't want to throw any disrespect though to CC because CC is definitely one of my all-time favorite Yankees. It's just Ray Lewis had to be the name that was said here, and it's unfortunate that his face isn't on all four of our boxes.
Well, I don't feel bad about it because CC's one of my favorites.
Okay.
I wouldn't have felt right if I didn't pick CC, but I would like to say that Ray Lewis, I think, is a great player, and I'm not gonna take anything away from that.
Do we remember back in episode 27 when Tommy forgot Mike Trout was number 27? I just wanted to throw that out. There's no relevance.
What relevance did that have? There is no relevance. I forgot. It was a long day. We recorded the episode, and I completely forgot. And I picked Vladimir Guerrero, who's a Hall of Famer. It's not like it was a bad pick.
It's fine. It's fine.
Not like I picked Joe Girardi.
This has been a great go to the number segment. Definitely one of the funniest, most fun we've filmed thus far. But now we're going to get into an NBA trade frenzy. There's been multiple trades going on right now before the NBA draft that's happening today on Wednesday. So we're going to dive into those trades and see the kind of relevance that they could have towards the NBA season. That'll be coming up next.
Welcome back to Go Chat, and in this segment, we are going to overview some of the crazy NBA trades that have been going on the past couple of days. The Pelicans have made some moves, dealing out some players. The Bucks got Drew Holiday. Suns making some moves as well. So let's start off with the Bucks. They recently just acquired Drew Holiday from the Pelicans for George Hill, Eric Bledsoe, 3 first-round picks, and 2 pick swaps. Connor, what do you think of this trade? Pretty huge haul for Drew.
Yeah, I would definitely say, we think back to the Anthony Davis trade to go over to LA, and it's really similar in the what was given out to get their player. Drew Holiday, in my eyes, definitely isn't worth 3 first-round picks, Eric Bledsoe and George Hill. But I think the Pelicans definitely got their player back. Plus, 3 first-round picks, it definitely works. And I also do want to mention that the Bucks also got Bogdan Bogdanović from the Kings. I don't know what the Kings were given. I think they were given DiVincenzo and Ersan Ilyasova. I think that was the deal.
Yeah,
but I think we can definitely see that the Bucks are trying to bolster up after a second-round exit last year as the 1 seed, and exit early in the rounds the year before with Giannis in his first MVP tenure. I definitely think they're trying to get more pieces around Giannis to make it farther in the playoffs. Who knows if it'll succeed?
Matt, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I kind of agree on what Connor said. I feel like that's way too much for Drew. I feel like you could probably offer that somewhere else to maybe get a better player. But I totally understand what they're doing with the second round exit last year, third round the year before. They really couldn't get to that finals, and they have Giannis, who we think is an amazing player. He obviously didn't show up he didn't show up in the playoffs, but still Giannis is an amazing player, and I think they're just trying to do what they need to get to that next step. But I just feel like they gave up way too much. And I saw the comparisons how it was like the Anthony Davis trade, and that to me just blew my mind. I was like, why are you doing that?
Tommy, what are you thinking? Are you thinking along the lines of Connor and Matt? They gave up too much, or do you think it was just the right amount?
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I think they did give up a little too much, but at the same time, I do understand it. Like you said, Matt, that team had high expectations last year and they didn't live up to it. So they want to make some additions, obviously, and get them to where they need to be. They have the best player in the game. Well, we can argue about that. One of the best players in the game in Giannis. And I certainly think that they can get there. I think this is a good addition, and hopefully it moves them in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely have to agree with you guys. And going off what Matt said, thinking that they could get something better. I feel like that haul was huge. Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, 3 firsts and 2 swaps. I mean, I understand that the trade for Anthony Davis, they didn't give Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart and all that stuff, right? But that's a huge haul. And then they just went out and got Bojan Bogdanovich, right? I feel like if I was the Bucks, I would just combine those 2 deals and go hunt for James Harden. We're going to talk about it later in the episode. I feel like that would have been perfect to pair James Harden with Giannis, and I feel like that would secure them to be the title favorites for next season. And if you're the Rockets, there's so many rumors saying that they want to blow it up and all that stuff. I don't know why you wouldn't accept, that trade from Milwaukee. I mean, that's an absolute king's ransom. And I feel like this Drew Holiday trade just like set the market. If James Harden does get traded, it's going to be at least 5 first-round picks, which is insane. We're talking about like one player here, but that's the market that the Bucks set, and they're able to do it because they need Giannis to stay, or else they won't be competing in the next years.
Now, the one thing I do want to say is obviously on the surface right now, we're just a day removed from the trade. It does look like a big haul, and it is. But say we're at the end of the season next year and it's the Bucks who are holding up the NBA trophy. Maybe it seems like this move could pay off. Maybe this is they're setting themselves up as a win now team because they're not sure about Giannis's future, where they may move back into the Bucks of the old in the coming years and kind of rebuild and hopefully get another Giannis if he decides to move on, where they're trying to get a title now. And they believe that Drew Holiday and Bogdanovich coming into the starting lineup could help them with that.
Yeah, I mean, sure, that could definitely pay off for both teams. But if it doesn't, you're just taking a really big risk, in my opinion. Because if it doesn't work out for you, then that was probably going to be one of the worst moves in your team's history. I mean, you look at the Nets Celtics trade. That was awful for the Nets, and that's something that we're never.
They got like Paul Pierce and KG and Jason Terry. It's not like they only got like Drew Holiday. Someone that only averaged 20 points per game once in his career. I get, he's a great defender and all that, but I mean, he's a great third star to pair with Middleton and Giannis. But I don't know. If I was the Bucks, I would have gone for some bigger fish in the sea.
Yeah, but we'll just have to see as time goes on if it pays off or not.
Yeah, definitely. But there also has been some other good trades outside of Milwaukee and New Orleans. Portland just traded for Robert Covington. They gave up Trevor Ariza and 2 first-rounders. Matt, I'll go to you first here. What do we think of this trade?
I'm not sure. Just the 2 first-rounders for Rocco. Not sure about that, but I think that the Blazers are kind of in that position where they need to start winning, especially with Damian Lillard to keep Dame Dalla and CJ McCollum. So, again, this might pay off. I don't know if I would have gave up 2 first-rounders for Rocco, in my opinion.
Connor, what do you think?
I would definitely agree with Matt here, and I only think because Robert Covington is a great player, but his and Trevor Ariza's play styles are kind of similar in the fact where they can both kind of play the same role on whatever team they're on. Robert Covington is definitely a better player than Trevor Ariza. He's a little bit younger, but 2 first-round picks and a player swap, I think, was a little bit too much to make that deal happen.
Tommy, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I think that they probably gave up a little too much, but as you said, Connor, he is a good player. So I think with both of these trades that we've talked about, I think that they're good additions to the team, but I certainly think that they did give up too much with those first round picks.
Yeah, I mean, like what you guys said, it 2 first round picks for like a really good role player, that's kind of like unheard of. And I feel like the market's been set now to the point where if you're selling someone, you're getting a big haul. No matter if it's like a bench player, you're getting like they're just throwing 1st round picks out left and right. And I understand it's not like the NFL or like any other draft to where, the late 1st round picks aren't as valuable, but still you could find some hidden gems like Nikola Jokic, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, all of these guys that have been found at the end of the draft. So you never know what happens with them. If I was Portland, I understand why they make that move. I would probably do it if I was them, but it might come back to bite them in the behind. Anyways, let's move on to another big trade out west. The Phoenix Suns and the Oklahoma City Thunder have come to agreement for Chris Paul. Chris Paul and forward Abdel Nader are going to the Thunder for Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio, Ty Jerome, Jalen Lecque, a 2020 and a 2020 1st round pick. This is another decent haul from a seller. Chris Paul, he made a big impact on the Thunder last year. Connor, what do you think?
I've been trying to look at this trade the past day or so since it happened and really decide who won the trade, because Kelly Oubre is a good young player. I really think he could do well in OKC, definitely with the addition of a new coach. Who took over in OKC? Oh, they promoted their assistant coach. Ricky Rubio and is towards the end of his game, I believe. And I'm honestly not too familiar with the other two names here. But Chris Paul is definitely, he's still a star in the NBA. I would say he's towards the end of his starship reign, though, in the NBA, because he is getting up there in age. I mean, he was in the league right around the same time as when LeBron James came in 2003 or 4, I believe. However, and you guys can shoot me down or argue with me if you think I'm wrong, but after we saw the way the Suns played in the bubble, their last 15 or so games, they just missed the postseason. I think the addition of Chris Paul to that team with Devin Booker and a young core around them makes the Suns a top 6 team in the West.
Yeah, I mean, Connor, I honestly probably have to agree with you there. I think Houston is going to blow it up this offseason. And then, you got the Warriors coming in, I guess, replacing their spot, right? But I mean, I feel like they totally can compete with the likes of the Mavericks and the Blazers, right? Outside of those, top 5 teams, I definitely could see the Suns being a top 6 team, especially with the implementation of Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton improving his game year after year.
I really think we're going to see another step forward from Devin Booker. I really think he's going to emerge and as like the star prime Devin Booker that everyone really thinks is coming. We saw it there in the bubble the end of last season. I really think he's going to be able to shine out there in Phoenix. He had a couple 50-point games, a couple 40-point games. And even before the season was shut down, he was really showing off. I believe he was an all-star or in the Rising Stars or something along those lines. He was a part of the all-star festivities. So I just think he's just going to get better. And you add someone like Chris Paul who can bring wisdom and knowledge and the IQ of the game to someone who's still young. It's only going to make him even better. And if Phoenix is the last team that Chris Paul decides to play with before he retires, I think he's going to leave behind his knowledge there to the younger players, and they're just going to be able to grow off of that.
Matt, you seem like you're itching to get at Connor's point. What are you thinking?
I don't know. I don't know if they would be a top 6 team per se, because I would have them behind the Lakers, Warriors, Clippers, Mavericks, Nuggets, and probably Blazers too. So that puts them at 7. I think I would say they're a playoff team, but I don't know if I would go as much to say that they're a top 6 team. Although I think this trade definitely helps them. The 2 players that you were missing in the Thunder was the 2 players that you didn't know about was Ty Jerome, who didn't really play last year. He was at Virginia, and then Jalen Lecque. I think he I don't even think he went to college. I'm not sure about that. So the Thunder are getting Ty Jerome, who I think has potential to do something maybe, and then Jalen LeQuay. And can we talk about the Thunder's picks? They have so many picks in the next 4, 5, 6 years. It's just unbelievable. But moving forward, I think the Suns are kind of like, okay, we need to keep Devin. You know, we need something to keep Devin along, because you always hear about the Devin Booker trade talks. Minnesota was obviously one that we've heard about this offseason. So I think that it's a good trade for them. I think it's going to push them to finally be a playoff team after so many years not being a playoff team since kind of the Steve Nash days, Goran Dragic when he was there. So I think it's going to pay off for them in the short term, but I don't think it's going to pay off them in the long term.
I just want to say to Matt that when I say top 6 team in the West, I'm going to say competing for the top 6 team in the West. Not necessarily that they're leaps and bounds above the Trailblazers or potentially the Timberwolves or what, depending on who they get in the draft or anyone along those lines. I mean, you have the Pelicans still with Zion in the second year, and they're getting a load out of players. But I can see them competing very well to be in that top 5, 6 range in the West.
Tommy, we haven't gotten your thoughts yet.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that you all made a lot of really good points. I think that Chris Paul, he's a good addition to any team, right? I think that he's certainly going to help them in a major way. I think that he does move them closer to a top 6 team. I don't know if they're quite there, but I certainly think that he can help them get there. So I think that's definitely another step in the right direction. Good move for the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, I definitely, agree that they didn't really give up that much. Kelly Oubre is a really nice young player. He averaged nearly 20 points a game, but outside of that, they gave up a first-round pick. Only one that's probably going to be later in the draft. 2, Ty Jerome, who knows what he could be. Maybe he could be like a backup point guard. Jalen LeQuay, I feel like, that's insignificant, right? Ricky Rubio is solid as well. But I think we're underestimating the winning culture that Chris Paul is going to bring to the Suns. We saw him go into an OKC team last year that we all thought were going to be rebuilding. I think they only had like a 2% chance to make the playoffs. And we see them get to the 5 seed and take the Houston Rockets with 2 superstars, Russell Westbrook and James Harden, to 7 games. So I feel like Chris Paul is going to bring them a sort of toughness and competitive edge that they've never had before. So I think that's definitely the benefit of getting, Chris Paul, regardless of how long he plays. I feel like he will have a lasting impact on the Phoenix Suns organization. I feel like they will 100% be a top 6 seed next year in the West.
There was another trade that happened, and I also do want to get into James Harden. I mean, we were just talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder. They just dealt Dennis Schroeder to the NBA champions in the Lakers, and they gave up Danny Green in a first. I want to get your guys' opinions on that.
I think that's something that the Lakers really needed, a point guard, kind of to complement LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So I think that was a good trade for them. Obviously, Dennis, in my opinion, he's a good point guard. Not something that's, obviously he's not something that's great, but he's going to be a great role player with the Lakers, being the point guard with LeBron and Anthony Davis.
Tommy, what do you think about the rich just getting richer here?
Yeah, I think it's a great move. I mean, you look at the Lakers, obviously they won the title. They're an outstanding team. And then to add a player like Schroeder to the roster, it's a great addition to the team. They just keep getting better. And I think they're certainly going to be contending. And we can talk about this later as well, but I was thinking about the other day, the Lakers, they're not going to have much time off, right? So I wonder how that's going to impact them moving into the next season. They're only going to have about 2 months off in total, but really they're not off right now, right? Because they got to start getting ready, at least training. So I think that he can certainly help them out and strengthen that team as they enter the season with little rest.
Yeah. Mike, what's your take on that?
I definitely think it's a good replacement for Rajon Rondo. I think it's definitely an upgrade. And I'm curious to see how the Lakers are going to fill out the rest of their team in the offseason, being that they had a bunch of 1-year deals like JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo. Danny Green was a 2-year deal, but he just got dealt to OKC. And I'm curious to see what the Lakers are going to do. I feel like they're championship chances really hinges on what they do in free agency, and they did enough last year, to win themselves the title. And for OKC, I didn't really get to touch on this in the last part, but I feel like they just got to hit on their picks, right? I feel like they have so many picks, right? I feel like they're just going, the more chances we get, the more chance we find a superstar. But when have we seen Sam Presti really draft a superstar outside of like the top three, outside of Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant, who were all top 5 picks, right? So I don't know if I believe in Sam Presti's ability to really draft outside of the top 5. So that's my only concern with the Thunder. They definitely have room to mess up, but that's just my only concern.
Well, yeah, I definitely just think that Dennis Schroeder going to Lakers is definitely just an upgrade. I think it only makes their chances of repeating even better. They, like Matt said, they definitely needed the point guard. We saw Rajon Rondo had a really big impact in the Game 6 closeout game in the finals. He played really well there. But I think Dennis Schroeder adds that passing ability and that shooting ability. And he is a very decent defender where I think he has that overall aspect of the game where he just is able to play well. And I think he's just going to fit well with LeBron and Anthony Davis, and team's just going to continue to get better. Now, I do want to mention James Harden just briefly. Now, there was news that came out that he turned down a max contract from Houston for 2 years, making it pretty clear-cut and evident that he doesn't want to be there anymore. A lot of news has been circulating that he wants to go to the Nets, rejoin with Kevin Durant, and then be there with Kyrie Irving and chase the East and then maybe even the title. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys see James Harden being a fit in Brooklyn?
That's a loaded question. I'm going to be honest. With Kyrie and KD there, putting James Harden in that equation, I don't know I personally don't know how it's going to go over, because we saw with James Harden, Russell Westbrook, they had such high expectations, but we saw that they didn't perform to what we thought they would. So I'm saying best case scenario, they're definitely winning the East. Best case scenario, that they all play to their potential and they all play like their prime, like we've seen. Worst case scenario, KD doesn't play the same. I'm not saying it's going to happen. You never know. KD doesn't play the same. Kyrie is just toxic. James Harden is just doing James Harden things. And they have no accountability under Steve Nash, which I hope Steve Nash does great, but I could definitely see Steve Nash not holding any of those 3 players accountable.
Tommy, you've called yourself a big Nets fan. I mean, before the show, you showed us your singular Nets memorabilia in your whole Yankees room. What do you think about this?
I think that it would be a great addition to the team, but like you said, Matt, I don't necessarily know that all those personalities would work on one team. I think that they're all great players and they would certainly make it work, but I think you bring up a good point by saying that. But I think anytime that you can add James Harden, that's a great move, right? I think he'll certainly help them out. And I think they can win the division, but we'll see what happens if the trade ends up happening. I personally think it will, because that's where he wants to go. And I'm sure that he'll make that happen, but I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Mike, what do you think?
I mean, I definitely agree with Matt. There's definitely some risk there, being that I do believe that Kyrie Irving is kind of like a locker room cancer. And I don't really know how it's going to be with just Irving and KD. But for some reason, I feel like if you implement James Harden, I just feel like there's going to be way too much talent on that team to mess up. I mean, that's absolutely insane to think about. You cannot double team any of them. I feel like we're just overthinking this, and I feel like they will learn, how to play with each other by the end of the season. I feel like if that does happen, they are the title favorites 100%, just based on the fact that James Harden would want to be there, meaning that he's willing to sacrifice. And I feel like there's no way that any team is stopping that trio offensively. And then you think about the rotations of one going to sit down and even just a James Harden, Kevin Durant pick and roll. I mean, that's just a thing of dreams right there. So I think the Brooklyn Nets, if that does happen, they're the title favorites, period, point blank.
I think Matt mentioning Steve Nash is definitely a good point because I was going to touch on that and the fact that if you have those three players there, I mean that's definitely one of the biggest top three like power three players in the NBA. And I think back to the Golden State big three and even the Miami Heat big three with LeBron, Wade, and Chris Bosh. And Steve Kerr and Eric Spoelstra both did have coaching experience in the past where Steve Nash is going to be a first year coach handling all of these personalities in the locker room and trying to keep everyone under control and trying to make sure James Harden can pass the ball and distribute well, and also have to make sure that Kevin Durant isn't being overused because he's still coming off and recovering from a torn Achilles. So all of these things are going to be going through Steve Nash's head, and obviously we hope that he doesn't get overwhelmed with the job and that he's able to continue and put together a good team in Brooklyn. But with that many personalities and that many different stories with each of those personalities, I think it's going to be hard to control. The potential's there, 100%. The potential is there. They could easily win the East, I think, and they could go up, and I think they could beat the Lakers if they play to their full potential. Do I think they will? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. All right. Well, I guess that's a really good ending point here. I guess we're just going to swing it into our next topic.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We're back with, of course, the Go Picks. We have them every week. The leaderboard is up. Unfortunately, Tommy took a little slide below all of us. He's a little further down in fourth. Mike is still in third. I am in second, and Connor is still in first. Good for him.
Tommy's always in first.
Nobody really cares. Like, this ends in like a month. There's a month to go, and we got 4 great games coming up. I'm gonna start with Thursday Night Football. We got Seattle, who slid all the way down to number 7 seed in the NFC after being number 1 for probably the longest time in the NFC. And they're going up against this Arizona Cardinals, which we saw 3 weeks ago, I want to say, where they played on Sunday Night Football. It was a great game. Connor, who are you going to go with?
Yeah, we saw a great game between the teams when they played first. They're both 6-3. The Rams are also sitting there at 6-3 in the NFC West. We said it here at the beginning of the show that we think prior episodes that we think the NFC West is definitely one of the best divisions in football. I think the Cardinals ride their hot streak. I said the Cardinals win this game.
I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I don't think Russell Wilson will let this one slide, especially I don't think Pete Carroll will let this one slide. And I think Chris Carson is supposed to be back. I hope he will be because I think he's going to be a big part of that offense. And we saw last game going into overtime. I thought Seattle, I thought they had the whole game. I honestly thought they were going to win. But Arizona came back. I think that Seattle this time will keep the lead that they have. Tyler Lockett played great. DK Metcalf played great. Of course, Russell Wilson played great. Mike, who are you going to go with?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Matt. I'm going to go with Seattle. I just can't see them losing this many games in a row. This is so uncharacteristic of Russell Wilson. I don't think that streak is going to continue from what we've seen from Seattle and Russell Wilson throughout his whole career is that they win games, and I think they're going to come out and win this game. This one, given that Chris Carson is back, I think they've really missed him and their running game the past couple of games.
Tommy?
I agree. I'm going to go with Seattle, and the game's being played in Seattle, so I think that definitely helps. And I agree, Mike. I don't think that they're going to keep this losing going. I think that they're going to win this game. Russell Wilson's going to get him back in the win column.
I mean, unless Kyler Murray throws another Hail Mary to win the game, I think Seattle's going to win.
You never know.
Moving forward, we got a Big Ten matchup. 2 top 10 teams, Ohio State and Indiana. Ohio State has the line by 20.5. That is way too big. Connor, I feel like we know where you're going to go. Do we even have to throw it to you?
Well, yes, you do. I think Justin Fields is playing great. He's definitely probably number 2 or 3 in the Heisman Trophy conversation right now. I mean, we have Alabama's quarterback. What is his name?
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. I was saying Zach Jones in my head for some reason. Yeah, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, and then probably Justin Fields. Put those 3 in whatever order you want because all of them are playing great right now. But Ohio State has been playing really good. They're going to come out and play like the top team in college football that they are. I know they're ranked number 3, but they're the top team in college football. They're going to win by Indiana, and they are going to cover the line.
Stop the cap. Come on. I also would want to throw in Zach Wilson into that MVP or into that Heisman race leading BYU. And yes, it is Mac Jones who's leading the best team in college football right now. I think Ohio State wins. I don't think they cover the spread. It's a bogus spread, to be honest. Mike?
Yeah, I'm going with Ohio State too. This isn't really a question. The spread is up for debate. I don't really think they'll cover. Should I see Ohio State covering? Sure, because they're one of the best teams in college football, but
The best team in college football.
they're gonna win.
All right, Tommy, please finish this off so we could stop talking about Ohio State.
I'm gonna pick the Indiana Hoosiers. No, I'm gonna pick them in terms of the spread, but to win the game, it's obviously Ohio State. I don't think it's gonna be that close of a game, but I still don't think that Ohio State is gonna cover the spread. It's Ohio State here.
I mean, maybe if the Penn State refs or the Penn State Indiana refs are the refs that are gonna be reffing this game, maybe Indiana will win. But I got Ohio State. Next game we got is number 10 Wisconsin, number 19 Northwestern. This game is at 3:30 on Saturday. Connor, who are you gonna go with?
Graham Mertz has been playing really, really well for Wisconsin. He's a true freshman. Obviously, he had some troubles dealing with the coronavirus, but he's back out there. He's thrown for 7 touchdowns and no interceptions in his first, I think, 3 career games or 2 career games or whatever, 2 career games. He leads Wisconsin to a win here.
100%. It's got to be the Badgers. I don't even think it's up for debate, to be honest. But that's me, of course. Mike?
Yeah, I agree. Graham Mertz is absolutely balling out. There's no reason to pick against Wisconsin here. I'm going with them.
Tommy?
I agree. It's got to be Wisconsin here for sure.
All right, last game we got is Oklahoma. They're number 18 versus Oklahoma State, number 14. This is a really good, big matchup. It's the battle of Oklahomas. Connor, who do you have?
Oklahoma's going to win this game. Spencer Rattler's been playing really well. He has 18 touchdowns on the season. I think he's just going to keep improving.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. This kind of NCAA, I feel like we're all going to go. Maybe someone's going to go Oklahoma State, but in terms of me and Connor, I'm going to have to agree with you on all these NCAA games. Other than the spread against with the Ohio State game. Mike?
Yeah, I'm going with Oklahoma too. They've really turned it up the past couple weeks, and I think they're going to come out here and beat Oklahoma State pretty handedly.
Tommy?
It's going to be a close one, but I'm going to go with Oklahoma State. I think that they're going to get the win on the road. I'm going for an upset.
Tommy, you've been going off. You've been going for upsets the past couple of episodes.
Hey, one of them's got to work.
One of them's got to work. Meanwhile, Tommy doesn't reach 10 wins.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think they're going to win.
All right.
This has been another great edition of the GOAT picks. The long one here. We're going into our GOAT of the week now. We'll be right back with that.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're here for the GOAT of the week. We haven't done it in a couple weeks, but we're back for it now. The leaderboard is up on your screen right now. Connor won the last one. And I'll start with you, Connor. Who's your pick this week? Are you going to win again?
Well, I have to go with the winner of the green jacket at Augusta National Country Club, Dustin Johnson. Minus 20 overall through 4 rounds. That is the lowest score to ever be scored at Augusta National. He only had 4 bogeys throughout the entire tournament. Now, a bogey is anything over par. You guys aren't very golf cultured, so I just had to make sure.
I'm okay.
Only four in the tournament. That is the lowest in any major history in the PGA Tour ever. And he won the tournament by 5 strokes. They could have handed him the jacket on Saturday. He was playing so incredibly well. Through the first 5 holes on Saturday, he was 6 under. Incredible. He played absolutely great, and he showed off and he got his first green jacket. And I think it's going to shoot him ahead for the next couple major tournaments and down the line. But for now, we're talking about the Masters, and he won, and he's going to win me GOAT of the week yet again.
Well, I think it's a great pick, Connor, but, I think there's some other good ones as well. I'll go to you, Matt. Who do you have?
I'm going to have to go with Tiger Woods. No, I'm kidding. Tiger Woods played awful. I know that. I'm going to go with DeAndre Hopkins. What? DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going to go with him. I'll just throw up his stats. This is kind of like
He's
whatever.
not even prepared. I had all my numbers ready. He's not even prepared.
Can you let me talk? He had 127 yards, 7 receptions, a touchdown. And oh, yeah, that touchdown was a Hail Mary. 3 Bills players were covering him. And he got up and he caught that ball and he got the Cardinals the win to put them ahead of the Seahawks in the NFC West, ahead of the Rams. Also, I would like to shout them out. DeAndre Hopkins is definitely going to win the Go of the Week. I don't know if this golfer is even going to touch the Go of the Week, to be honest. Maybe one vote by one of Connor's friends, one pity vote. But DeAndre Hopkins is definitely 100% going to win the Go of the Week. Also, he did win Jeremy a fantasy game this week, so Jeremy's definitely going to pick him too.
This golfer, I'm offended for you, Connor. It's Dustin Johnson, the best player in the world. He won the Masters.
He is world number 1.
Okay, DeAndre Hopkins caught a Hail Mary to win the game over Buffalo when they probably had no chance of winning at that point.
This guy. You know what?
I'm going to what the people like. I know my fans, and I'm going to get the win. This is strategic play.
All right, Matt.
All right.
Somewhere else.
Yeah, we'll go to you, Mike. Who do you have?
I'm going with Ronald Jones of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He really broke that game open against Carolina. It was really back and forth. Carolina was up by a touchdown at one point, and then once Ronald Jones broke out that 98-yard touchdown run, the longest touchdown run in Tampa Bay Buccaneers history. The game just exploded from there. He had 23 carries for 192 yards and a TD. You could also throw on a couple of receptions for that. He's 100% the Go of the Week here. I mean, a 98-yard run. I mean, give me a break. That's insane.
Game winner Hail Mary.
He's breaking records out here.
Better than that.
He's breaking records out here. Okay.
Dustin Johnson did too.
Oh, come on. No, none of your guys caught Hail Mary. Come on. Nobody won the game. That was the best play of the year, too. I forgot to mention that. That was 100% the best year.
That was the best play of the year if the year isn't over. Come on now.
I don't even care.
Come on now. Stop the cap.
What? Are the Jets going to have one of the best plays next week? They're going to have a butt fumble. They could count that.
I mean, that Sam Darnold run was pretty solid.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. He was probably seeing ghosts there, too. He was like, oh, my God. There's a ghost there. There's a ghost there. Oh, my God.
Anyways. Who's your Go of the Week?
Yeah, I have to go with Kim Ang, the new GM of the Miami Marlins. She's the first female GM in baseball history and in the 4 major professional sports in the United States. So it's an incredible accomplishment. I was very happy to see that on Friday. I think that she's easily the Go of the Week. I think you all have great people as well, but this was a very historic day for the Marlins in Major League Baseball and American sports. So she's my Go of the Week.
Tommy, I do just want to say that that's a great pick. And she's definitely going to be an inspiration to a lot of people, not necessarily only women in sports, but I think we're finally taking a step in the right direction in the sports world where we are finally getting more women in the sports field, whether it be media or management or anything of the sort. So I think definitely getting her into a GM position in the MLB is definitely a step in the right direction for sports.
That pick, Tommy, I gotta say that pick is great. It's gonna touch around DeAndre Hopkins' range, but it's not gonna win. If I don't win, I hope it's you, Tommy. I hope it's you.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. I think they're all good this week.
Now, I just want to throw out one more fact. I don't know if you guys are still sticking around to me throwing out this fact, but
I don't really care.
In 1997, when Tiger Woods won the Masters, the Augusta National wound up raising the course 500 yards due to how well he played. Dustin Johnson played better than that. So, Mike, you look really bored. What's going on?
Talking about golf, bro. What do you mean?
Golf is electrifying when we're talking about the Masters and Dustin Johnson going 20 under, and now he's going to win me another Go to the Week.
Listen. I'm going to give you some.
I think Ohio State has a better chance of covering a -30 line than Dustin Johnson winning the Go of the Week this week.
Listen, I'm going to give you some
history. Masters.
I'm going to give you some history about the Hail Mary. I mean, of course, it was perfected by Doug Flutie back in his day. And then we saw Aaron Rodgers come out, throw the most perfect Hail Mary in 2015. Nobody thought it could ever be done again. And then we see Kyler Murray, not as far as Aaron Rodgers, 3 Hail Marys, but still impressive. Definitely impressive. And we look at the stadium.
Is Kyler Murray your go to the week, or is it DeAndre Hopkins?
It's the guy who made the catch because he had to jump over 3 guys, including, I'm pretty sure, Micah.
Why are you talking about the quarterbacks who were throwing it and not the people who were catching it?
Because he's the person that threw it to DeAndre Hopkins. But DeAndre Hopkins, right. Why don't you talk about the caddy? Why don't you talk about the caddy? The caddy is doing a lot for the guy.
Well, that's actually true. Dustin Johnson's caddy is his brother, and he brings him out on every event.
Why are you talking about the caddy now? Why are you talking about the caddy? It's not your pick. Why are you talking about him? Why are you talking about the caddy? Connor, you're just such a hypocrite right now. Like, you want to talk about, like, Tiger Woods. He's not your pick, but you're talking about him. And then I mentioned Kyler Murray's name, and you're like, oh, my God, why are you talking about Kyler Murray? Connor, stop being so hypocritical. Come on.
I don't think I'm being hypocritical in the fact that
are. I just mentioned Kyler Murray's name because he threw it.
Aaron Rodgers and Kyler Murray. I mean, you should be talking about.
Oh, my God. DeAndre Hopkins caught the ball. That's why I picked him as the go of the week. He's the reason why that was the best play of the year. Are you kidding? Did you see that play? That was insane.
I'm not saying it wasn't.
Oh my God. Then why are you complaining that I'm talking about Kyler Murray? Because he's the one who threw the ball. What do you want me to just say? Oh, it just magically appeared in the air. It just magically appeared in the air, guys.
Because Dustin Johnson is the world #1 in the PGA Tour.
I don't care about Derek Johnson or whatever the heck his name is.
At Augusta National.
I don't care.
Anyways, I think that wraps up this great Goat Chat episode. We had a little bit of an argument at the end, getting feisty around here. But anyways, thank you for, all your support. Our views are up. We really appreciate it. Please hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram. We are trying to get to 100 subs. We're trying to get to 500 followers. We really appreciate all the support we get from you guys. And we will see you next time.
Connor, I hope Dylan Johnson wins. But
Dustin Johnson, you...